Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy 1 month of Digimon Story Time Stranger being out, or at least that's the case as of the time of this recording. That being said, we've made a ton of guides already, including those about personality shifting, how the Digifarm works. We've made 4 tips and tricks videos, how to get OP early, how to get even more OP, how to break the game, and so much more. That being said, in today's video, I wanted to go over how you can take your Digimon team even further beyond, as Goku would say, and make them even more powerful. This video will require you to understand how personality shifting works, but other than that is pretty straightforward. So make sure to sit back, relax, subscribe for more Digimon and monster taming content, and let's dive in. Okay, so you've got your broken personality skills, which I went over in another video. You've got your maxed out Digimon, and you're wondering what else could you possibly do to make the Digimon even stronger? Well, my child, there are actually 2 more quirks with personality that I've only briefly touched on in previous guides that we will be diving into today. This has to do with how extra strikes work and the less mysterious bonuses certain personalities will give you via agent skills that you probably forgot about. Let's start with the agent skills. So there are a ton of agent skills with different ones affecting specific personality quadrants, but also specific personalities themselves. If we head into the Wisdom Agent Skill tab, for example, you could see that there are personality buffs for Astute, Enlightened, Sly, and Strategic. These are specific to those personalities and give set boosts by 25%. However, every agent skill will also have a personality quadrant showcased with the plus symbol, which specifically does something for that particular personality. For strategic personalities, it can reduce magic damage taken. For Astute Digimon, you can ignore 3% of the target's spirit stat for each agent rank, so 3 times 10, 30% magic penetration, essentially. Enlightened Digimon can increase the drop rate, and there are a bunch of these for the different personalities in question, each receiving a buff to 2 different stats, and then one receiving some sort of bonus buff, if you will, that's a little more custom. So of course, having something like the Astute personality on a hard-hitting special attacker is going to be optimal, as it will ignore a portion of that magic resistance. You can decide for yourself which one of these bonuses that I've mentioned is optimal for your specific team build, but this is extremely significant as it's easy to miss, since once you've maxed out your Digimon, you're not really thinking about which personality it's sitting at because you're not gaining any more stats. You might have accidentally talked to it and shifted it. You may have shifted it to focus on a different stat and then never switched it back, or whatever. Now, when it comes to extra strikes, this is where things get a little more interesting. So as you may or may not know, when you're performing any damaging skill, there's a chance that your Digimon might perform an extra strike, which is scaled to your bond stat. The higher bond, the more chance of an extra strike. And depending on their personality, said extra strike will have a specific effect that is quite wide ranging. Now, surprisingly, there's not a whole lot of information on this, but I've been doing some testing, and based on a Digimon's personality, there seems to be quite the spectrum of different effects you can expect. Digimon with a personality within the Wisdom Bond will generally have some sort of stat debuffing effect, such as Paralysis Bind or Blight Break, both of which cause stat abnormalities. In all cases where I tested within the Valor quadrant, your Digimon seem to get an additional strike on top of that initial extra strike. Those within the Amicability quadrant seem to have a range of different effects, including Boost Link, which will increase all stats on your team, Boost Charge, which will only increase the stats on one Digimon, Reduce Bind, which reduces the stats of the enemy team, etc. Finally, Philanthropy hosts a few different abilities as well, including Wind of Regeneration, which will heal all party members, Regeneration Charge, which will heal only the user, Cheer of Energy, which restores the SP of all members, etc. Now, it is stated that these effects do differ based on a Digimon's type and which bond category it's in, and that's sort of what I found during my testing. However, there does seem to be more factors at play, since some people have reported having 2 Digimon of the same personality and typing, but still getting 2 different results. The key here when it comes to making your own team as powerful as possible is to keep these extra strike abilities in mind when building and experimenting which ones fit your team build. For example, having Wind of Regeneration on Venusmon, who's already a healer, is really nice, as sometimes you're using her primary debuff move, which does damage, and then you get an extra heal on top of that. Boost Link is also really nice, as it'll increase stats across your entire team, while Paralysis Bind and Blight Break don't typically work on a lot of the in-game bosses. They tend to resist a lot of status abnormalities, but when they do end up working out, it's definitely nice to have. One thing I can say is that during my testing, I personally didn't have any differences with individual personalities. It was more so dependent on whether or not my Digimon had a particular bond and one of the 4 personalities within it. Though I think that we need more wide-scale testing amongst a broader range of people. So let me know down below if you've done any testing and what sort of results you've come up with. I definitely think this is a pretty interesting mechanic that's shrouded a little bit in mystery, but can really give you an insane buff in battle. But yeah, guys, that's how you're going to be able to take your Digimon even further. Getting the extra strikes and the additional personality bonuses on point is going to make Mega Plus a joke. When I did my Mega Plus team, I didn't even pay attention to that specifically. I had good extra strike profiles kind of on chance, which ended up working out really well. But even something as simple as changing your special attacker to astute in order to get that magic penetration is going to make a world of difference. Like I said before, I've made so many Digimon guides at this point. I think what I'm going to do is I want to make a few sort of bigger guides that condense a lot of my smaller guides together. For example, with personalities, we have like a basic personality guide. I have a personality skill guide. Now I have this guide that's also based in personality with like extra strikes and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about making like a big like everything you need to know about personalities video and just like put all of the stuff from these guides into one. I don't think I would just like take the guides and like put them together. I think I'd have to like make it from the ground up, maybe use some of the footage from those guides, but have more of like a condensed, concise guide that goes into everything you need to know from like start to finish. I definitely have more Digimon content planned just with regards to like speculation and like what's going to happen in the future with Digimon Story Time Stranger and stuff like that. And of course, we got lots of monster taming videos planned because this is a monster taming channel. So make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Peace.